What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Radio Check. My name is Addie, and today on Trackblazers we have a very special guest, Charlotte Traynor. Charlotte, would you like to introduce yourself before we get started?
Yes, hello. My name's Charlotte Traynor. I'm 18 years old from Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a race car driver. I've been racing since I was 13 years old, and this is my first full year racing cars.
So, going back to the start of your career, what drew you to motorsports and how did you get your start?
So I actually don't come from a racing family, which is kind of funny. I come from a family of pilots, which is totally opposite of what you would think, most drivers start out as. So my grandpa's a pilot, my dad was a pilot, my sister's a pilot, but somehow I was just drawn to motorsports. We actually kind of got started in dirt bikes when I was around 10 years old because our neighbors were huge, with motocross and with dirt bikes. So they kind of inspired us to get dirt bikes, and we made a whole huge track in our backyard that was combined with theirs. So we did that for a little while. But then it's I would just watch, NASCAR and Formula One all the time as a kid and IndyCar. And it's when they would show the in-car cameras, it's like a switch just turned on in my brain, and I was like, that looks like so much fun. I want to do that so bad. So I asked my dad about it, and we kind of switched from dirt bikes, and then I started go-karting. I literally just started indoor go-karting when I was around 13 years old. And then from there, I was like, hey, this is something that I really want to do. And it was one of the only things that I was actually decent at. So I was like, hey, I really want to make a career out of this. So my dad and I, we got, a actual professional go-kart, and we started in that, and I stayed in go-karts for about 4.5 years. And then just last year I made the jump to cars.
Yeah, pilot in a different sense. You could say.
Exactly, a pilot on the ground. And it's I have this thing with my sister. I'm like, you can conquer the air, I'll conquer the ground, and we'll just do it.
Trainer sister domination.
Exactly, exactly.
So, fast forwarding to more recent endeavors. 2 weeks ago, you drove in the World Racing League at Daytona. How are you feeling about that experience?
That was probably the best experience of my life. Growing up, obviously watching races at Daytona, and I literally, I would go tour Daytona Speedway and just watch things there all the time, from the 24 hours to NASCAR. So, to actually be there and to be there driving was just so surreal and so special. It literally did not feel real. My first lap when I was driving out on the track, I was feeling literally every single emotion you could feel all at once. It was just by far the coolest thing ever, and a real pinch me moment, because I was like, how is this real? I'm actually driving the track that I've dreamed of driving for years with such an incredible team as well. So it was definitely the best experience of my life so far, I would say.
You're also participating in a partial season in MX5. How are you feeling about this season so far?
I'm feeling really good about the MX5 Cup season so far. Obviously, we've only done one race, and that was at Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. And we're really doing, so we're only doing three races this year. And the reason why we're only doing three is because you can do three and still be eligible for Rookie of the Year next year. And the Rookie of the Year in this series, you win $100,000. If you get Rookie of the Year, you get $100,000. So the payout is huge for that. So we want to be able to contend for that next year. So we're only doing three races, one of them being Barber, which we did. The next one is at Virginia, and then the last one of the season is at Road Atlanta. So it's been great so far. It's such a competitive series, and if you watch the races online, I feel like it's pretty well known that that series is very intense, and it's very close racing because all the cars are very similar. All the engines are spec. You cannot change anything under the hood. So it's really a driver orientated series. So all the drivers are so close. All the teams are, so they've been doing this for such a long time. So it's a really, really tough series to kind of get started in. I feel like you're just kind of jumping in the deep end and hoping that you don't sink, but it's been great. I mean, the development that that series provides, and just the support that it provides too. The highest finishing female in that series gets $2,000. So, and then, from first place to 10th gets paid out. So the support in that series is incredible. And everyone, with Mazda Motorsports has just been so incredible. So I'm really excited to, keep going with this series. And I'm excited to see where it goes and where it takes me.
With that, what are your goals for those next two like rounds that you'll be doing with MX5?
Yeah, definitely. I would say just having a solid, strong finish because I feel like it's so easy to get caught out in that series. Like you can be leading the race and then on the last lap, you DNF. So I think just having a good, strong, like consistent string of finishes is really important in that series. And it really shows that you're a capable driver. Like if you can get through all like the mess and the chaos that is the MX5 Cup, like you can get through just about anything. So if I just have a few good, clean weekends under my belt, get some good racing experience, good experience like racing with everybody else, like I would be very happy because at the end of the day, it's our own car too that we use because we kind of do like a little privateer team with another family from Arizona. So it's all our own equipment. So it's super hard, like if we go out and if we wreck stuff or we
Yeah.
bang doors with other people, like we don't have all these spare parts like the other teams do. So at the end of the day, too, if the car all comes back in one piece and I can race it again, like that's a win in itself.
Yeah. No, the privateering sounds really cool. Like that, like just
Yeah,
having like, just like having
yeah,
all.
it's definitely tricky because it's like you're going up against teams that have been doing this for years. Like the MX5 Cup is all they do. And the team that I'm with, it's just, it's like we're all just one family. We all come from Arizona and, they just got into it last year. So it's all learning. And they've actually been doing incredible so far. Like last year, they finished P2 at Road Atlanta. So to actually be able to contend with these huge, big dog teams is just insane. So you definitely learn a lot and we learn a lot from each other and every single weekend teaches us something that we're like, oh gosh, we didn't even know we needed to do that. And then, but it's incredible and I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly.
What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment so far in your career?
Right. I definitely feel my biggest accomplishment was racing at Daytona with AE Victory 2 weeks ago. That was just such a surreal experience in my life. I feel like, and to do it with an all-female team as well, that was so cool. And just, it really felt so empowering and like uplifting. It was, the best experience of my life. And getting to drive that car too. We drove a Toyota Supra. And that was the fastest I've ever driven in a car too. Like we're almost hitting like 165, 170 at the end of the straightaway. So it's like it was just so cool. And it really like made me realize like, okay, I can do this. Like, and I'm doing it, like I'm becoming a professional race car driver. And it's like that was the first step, I feel like. So that's definitely one of the best things to happen in my career so far, I'd say.
What would you say is your biggest motivation?
Ooh. I would say a big, motivator is obviously results, but not just results. It's like the little wins. Like when you see, you may not be P1 in practice, you may not win, but it's like when you see kind of the steady improvements and when you see the hard work start to pay off, that's super motivating for me. Like, we'll be at the track almost every single week practicing in the MX5 Cup car. And then sometimes during the race, you'll get wrecked or it won't really go your way. But like you'll have pace the whole weekend. So even though the weekend may not have gone like how you wanted, you can still see that like your hard work does pay off and your pace and your speed is there. And as a driver, that's really encouraging to see, and you're like, okay, this is all paying off and, it is working just slowly but surely. And also the people around you too. Like my family keeps me so motivated and my team, that I'm with in the MX5 Cup, they all, it's like we're all family and we all keep each other on our toes and definitely motivated. So they're, a huge part of everything I do as well.
So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's no secret that a career in motorsports isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do or to pursue. So what's been the hardest part about succeeding in this industry for you?
I would say one of the trickiest things is just probably finding, the most accessible series to race in with the funds that you have. Because, and I know lots of drivers can relate to this. I don't come from a family that's, millionaires, and it's super hard to, find a seat in a series when you don't have like millions of dollars. So that's one of the main reasons why we went to the MX5 Cup, because it has so many payouts. But just to constantly try to find a seat and try to find a car and try to find a ride, as a driver that doesn't have, the financial backings that maybe other drivers have, it can be really hard at times. And it can also be really hard, like when you see people that you've maybe raced against, like whether it was in go-karts or in other lower levels, and you maybe beat them, in go-karts, but because they have more funding than you and they have more money, they're able to kind of like progress up the ladder like sooner, and kind of be in a position that you want to be in. So that can be really tough as well. But I always, have to keep reminding myself, like, everybody has their own journey. And in motorsports too, I feel like everybody has their own unique pathway and, unique journey of kind of like getting to a certain point. So it's like you just have to do what you can do and, really focus on performing and, being your best self out there. And at the end of the day, like, something will work out. You just have to keep showing up. You have to, keep knocking on doors, because that can be tricky too. Just finding the motivation to keep going, even when things get hard. Like if you get wrecked out of a race, or, you're having a hard time securing the funding, or you're just having like a string of bad weekends. It can be really hard sometimes to stay motivated as a racing driver. So just really like having in the back of your mind, like, I'm doing this for a reason. Like, this is what I was meant to do. And, you just have to keep showing up, and just like know that something will eventually happen for you. You just have to keep putting in the work and putting in the effort, and hard work doesn't go unnoticed. So that's a big thing that I always try to remember when, things get tough as well.
So when I started Trackblazers, it was like a very big, like, my mom was on me. She's like, you need to figure out what you're doing for college and like just figure out like an internship or something. And so I'm like, okay, let me do something with like interviewing. And I like everyone was like, oh, you have to pick a niche. You have to pick a niche. And so I think what really stuck with me was the growing number of women and girls like getting into the sports, like just any sport, but specifically motorsports. And so one of the really big things that really jump started Trackblazers was like the question was, what's your message to women and girls who want to work in motorsports both on and off track?
I would say persistence is powerful. That would be my message. Like, there's going to be so many days, whether you're racing or whether you're presenting or whether you're an engineer, like, there's going to be so many days where you feel like the world is just against you and you feel like nothing's working out and nothing's going how you want, but you just have to keep pushing. Like, I would not be where I am if I wasn't pushing. Like, you have to, be the one to keep reminding people, like, hey, let's do this. Hey, I want to do this. And you just have to kind of be fearless in your approach as well. You just have to go for it. Like, I was shy growing up. I was very shy, and racing has definitely like brought me out of my shell. Now I can just like confidently go up to anyone and, start a conversation or ask for things or mention sponsorship and funding. And I feel like that's a huge thing too. You just really have to get yourself out there, and you can't be afraid, because more often than not, people are going to want to help you. So many people in motorsports, it is such an incredible community, and so many people want to help. So if you just, put your best foot forward and you keep being persistent with it, and you don't give up, and if it's something that you're really passionate about and you share that and you keep showing that to other people, they're going to see that and they're going to want to help you. So you just have to keep showing up, even on the hard days, even when things feel like they're, next to impossible. You just have to keep, pushing and be resilient through it all as well.
So, like I always say, no interview is complete without some just for fun questions. So, what is your pre race hype song or artist?
Ooh, probably you probably know, so anything by Coldplay. I love that band so much. So any Coldplay song, I really love. Let me think. I know there's more. Arctic Monkeys. I love Arctic
Love
Monkeys.
Arctic Monkey.
So literally any song by them too, I'm pretty good. So I'd say those are my two main bands that like I'd listen to.
What who is your favorite driver, like F1, IndyCar, or any other series you watch?
You already know. But okay, my favorite Formula One driver is definitely Oscar Piastri. I look up to him so much, just his mannerisms and how he carries himself. I definitely try to like replicate that with my driving style and just keeping a calm and cool head. Because I feel like so many people nowadays, they're just like, they let their emotions drive them. And, like they want to be the new hot shot Max Verstappen, angry in and out of the car. And I'm like, I drive my best when I'm relaxed and when I'm like in the zone and just calm and cool and collected. And I love that like Oscar gets like recognition and praise for that because I feel like that's really similar to my driving style as well. So he's definitely someone that I really look up to. Um, I love David Malukas from IndyCar because I love his personality too. He's just so, funny and, just I feel like it's such a gift too in motorsports to not take too many things to heart and just to take things as they come and, to have that good uplifting attitude because it spreads too. Like it spreads to others. It's like when you're happy and energetic, it spreads and it's contagious. And I absolutely love, drivers that have that. So David Malukas and Oscar Piastri are my
Like my like
they're my
five
mains.
my 5 second interaction with David Malukas, I walked away. I was like, oh my god, that was
Yeah.
like the
Like, yeah.
best experience of my life. Like
He's
I was like smiling.
he's
Like he
so
was so
cool. He is
sweet.
literally so cool.
Like so what is your favorite track that you've driven, and what's a track you hope to drive sometime in the future?
My favorite track that I've driven was definitely Daytona. That was so cool just to experience the banking and the speeds. It has such a good like mix of everything. Like it has a fun infield section that's a bit slower, and then you go out onto the banking and you're going like 160 miles an hour into a heavy braking zone. So it just has a really fun like variety of corners, which I really enjoy. And then a track that I really want to go to. I'm gonna go. So in the US, I would really want to go to Laguna Seca because I love the corkscrew and I love the history that's like rooted in that track. So I feel like that would be a really cool track to go to. Of course, because I'm from the West Coast as well. So I definitely want to drive there. And then outside of the US, I would really want to go to Spa. That place is just like gorgeous. I want to drive there so bad. I don't care what it's in. I just driving there would be so cool. And also the Nürburgring in Germany, like that place would just be insane. Like I can only imagine just 9 miles and however many corners it has. I think that would be such a cool thing to experience. So
What is your favorite Cars movie from the trilogy?
Oh, definitely the first Cars movie is the best. I am a huge believer in like nothing can replace the originals. And I love the whole Cars trilogy, but I mean nothing compares to the first one. I feel like that's like a canon event for all motorsports lovers and enjoyers is like watching the Cars movie and then like believing you are Lightning McQueen or you can become Lightning McQueen. So definitely the first one.
That's my go-to sick day movie. I'll just
Yes, totally.
like or like during like winter break for or, like off season for like motorsports, that's like just the Cars
For
movie
sure.
over and
Just
over.
put them all on.
My mom
Yeah.
gets so sick of me. She's like, "You know every single word of this movie. Turn it off." I'm like, "But I miss
Yeah.
Cars."
Yeah. No, literally, like 2 weeks ago when I was in Daytona Beach, I was thinking about the third movie from the scene that, like, when they're on the beach, when, like, Lightning and Cruz are on the beach. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in a Cars movie right now. So it's like, it's always in my head.
Well, since it is premiere week, how are you feeling about the new F1 movie?
Oh, I love this question. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to like. I think it looks really cool, and I'm happy that like they have a movie about F1, but I don't know. I've seen so many mixed like
Me
reviews of it
too.
online. And at the end of the day, like once again, I'm super happy that Formula One is getting a movie. I really, really hope that they do it justice. Like I hope, that they did all the research and that everything's like right, and that it's not just kind of like something for show. Like I hope that they do get some of the intense aspects that come along with the sport, in there. So I mean, I love the soundtrack to it so far. Like I think all the songs in it are great. And from the scenes that I've seen, like it looks promising. So I hope that it is good, and there aren't scenes where you're like, oh, that doesn't actually happen. So, like I really hope they did their research. So I'm kind of anxiously waiting for that, but I think it should be good, hopefully.
I have some faith since Lewis was a producer. Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
giving me
So
some
there's
reassurance.
yeah, exactly. I have little faith in it. So I think it could be good.
Yeah, but that's all the questions I have for you. So thank you so much for
Awesome.
joining us today. And
For
good
sure.
luck
Thank
with
you for having me.
everything that you've got going on in your future.
Thank you so much. This was very fun.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.